Hello everyone, this is Sereni's here, back with another awesome Halo 5 video for you guys today, and I'm pleased to finally bring my first installment of the Champion Free-For-All August season gameplays today. Those of you that have been with me for a while will know that I have been playing mostly Halo 5 Free-For-All recently since June of this year. Initially I hated Free-For-All in this game, but I wanted to try it since I haven't really found my feet with this game in a solid team of 4, to play Slayer or Team Arena each time I get on. So that's why I opted to play FFA. To ease into Halo 5 Free-For-All at my own pace as well, without pressure of being known. I used a couple of alternate accounts for the June and July season, and these were called Inner Serenity 69 and Air Rhyme 2790 378. And it took a little bit of time to adapt and learn the maps and all that kind of stuff. But eventually I started winning over top players in Free-For-All like Turley, who is one of the best Free-For-All players on this game. Also taking games from B11, Adrifted and Ripping Heads, and the list goes on. So after achieving wins of that nature, I thought to myself, I can definitely achieve these kind of wins on my main account, and I decided that is why we're doing August when the new season came in. So also whilst going for these wins over top players, I decided at the same time it'd be pretty cool to get a good champion and maintain it for the whole season, and that's what I did. So these gameplays are all the ones that help me to maintain my champion from beginning to end. All of these gameplays I upload for this series will be the games where I came first place, because I mainly like to upload wins to my channel for my personal satisfaction, and to show you that how to come first place against top players, which I did many times in this season. The episodes of this series will be in a chronological order, so from a time ordering for when I started my placement games to maintaining my champion at the end of the season. So the game you're watching today is my first placement match, and since I told you that all the episodes of this series will result in me coming first place, then you know that I won my first match of the season. So that was obviously a major confidence boost, winning the first match, going forward with the rest of the season. And today in this gameplay I matched up against a very good free-for-all player, Adzzyy. He was in my B11 video where I went over him and B11 in Molten, on the map Molten, which I posted a little while ago. And in that match he came second place, so I knew I had my work cut out with him. Also in this gameplay I'm up against the MVP, who's also a Champion Free-For-All player. He's not one of the best Champion Free-For-All players I've played. He only wins on average 1 in 10 games, but he plays a lot to keep his champion, and he has had a champion for multiple seasons by playing a lot of games, so he does try very hard. There was some decent competition in my first placement game regardless. So the way this series is going to work, as I've already explained, every game will be of me coming first place. So that will be across many maps as we go through the uploads, and each time a map comes up, for the first time in the series, this is when I'll discuss in the video what spawns on the map, such as weapons, power-ups, and the initial spawns, what plays should make off each one. So once I've done all that stuff, the map strategy on the first time you see the map, I'll move on to talk about my in-game decision making, the plays I made that were good, the plays I made that were bad. I'll also talk a little bit about the players in the game. So also, just to say as well guys, that this is going to easily be some of my best Halo 5 content to come to the channel yet. And maybe even some of my best Halo content to come to my channel in a while, because that's quite a big statement for me to make, because I have beat many top players in my time when I started to post content in Halo 4, to Halo 2 Anniversary, then to Halo 3 MCC, and now to Halo 5. But I originally started playing Halo back in Halo 3, and then I moved on to Reach after that, but I didn't really post YouTube content that time. I wasn't as serious player as I was, as I sort of became over the years from Halo 4 to Halo 2 Anniversary. I became a bit more serious about winning. So now that I've introduced this series to you and how great all this content is going to be, and how it's probably going to work, I'll just talk about the episodes and the way it comes. So when a map comes up for it, multiple times after, as I said, the first time it comes up, I'll talk about more about the map and the initial spawns and what play you can make off each one. When the map comes up multiple times in the next episodes, I won't talk about any of that stuff and just talk about more about the decisions I made in the games and my thought process behind the plays I made. The other thing that might occur in this series, well, I know it will occur, so not might, but it will occur in this series, is I will have episodes against live streamers as well, top players that stream free-for-all. So dependent on how much respect I have for the streamer, those gameplays will be either of a comical nature or they'll be of a slightly respectful nature, dependent on the streamer really. But I know that episode 3, for instance, is against the streamer, so I will throw that out there. But yeah, I hope you guys look forward to those as well. I really enjoyed, obviously, you know, playing top players on stream as well, because, you know, winning whilst they were streaming the gameplay is obviously, you know, quite a confidence boost as well. So that's all good stuff. So, let's talk about stasis free for all now, guys, and you know, what spawns on the map in ways of, you know, power ups and power weapons, and also talk a little bit about today, because that's all I sort of have time for. I'm going to talk a little bit about initial spawns as well. So, as you've probably seen from the gameplay, rockets spawn in top mid, and this is a power weapon that has an indicator on it, so they'll only come up at that particular time indicator and no other time. So you can only you know, collect the rockets when they become available, and you will be notified of that advance in the kill feed, and obviously with the indicator in top middle. Overshield spawns every 2 minutes 2 seconds from the last time it's picked up, so if you grab the OB, you should definitely try and remember the time. The other things that are important on this map as well is the recyclable weapons, and these are the shotgun and the Hydra. And when I say recyclable weapons, I mean with the shotty and the Hydra, they are recyclable because, and what I mean by that is, if you use all of the ammunition, your shotgun or your Hydra, and then you know, exchange it for another weapon that's on the ground, a fresh shotgun or Hydra will spawn in its original spawn in 10 seconds time with full ammunition. So there's definitely advantages to thinking about that, and you know, these sort of recycling these weapons can be very advantageous for you in a free-for-all match, especially where the shotgun's concerned, because it's very overpowered in this game, and for maps like Empire, it's essential that you can try and control that, because, you know, it doesn't really come down to how good your Magnum is in Halo 5 3-4, in my opinion. It's more about your general strategy, which has to be on point, not so much how good your Magnum shot is. So it's really important to sort of bear that in mind, that it's definitely something you should try and do in these free-for-all matches. So also today, what I wanted to talk a little bit about as well, so I've covered recycling weapons, all that stuff. The other thing is initial spawn points on stasis free-for-all. So on stasis free-for-all, there are obviously 6 main spawns for 6 players at the start of a match on this. So the most common ones, because they can like randomise slightly, the positioning of your Spartan could be slightly different in each place, but the most common spawns I'm aware of are you know, on both flag sides of the map. On one flag side of the map, 2 players will spawn on either side of the platform, and usually those players will engage in a 1v1 at that point. I did actually get that spawn at the start of this game, but the player on the other side of my platform ran off the shotgun, so I actually ended up shooting the players that rushed top mid for rockets, which is a good play on my part. So yeah, as I said, you know, 2 players will spawn on one flag side. They usually face off against one another. A single player will spawn on the other flag side on his own, and also 1 player will spawn on shotty, 1 player will spawn on overshield, and 1 player will spawn in Hydra building. So those are the main spawns on the map, and obviously, you know, with all that being said, the main place to make on stasis free-for-all for any particular spawn is to sort of grab what's closest to you. So if you get the overshield spawn, obviously you're going to grab overshield, which is definitely my favourite spawn on this map, because I feel you have a very good chance of getting rockets in top mid if you get the OB at the start, because of all the other players fighting as well. Shotgun, obviously grab the shotgun and wait for field to charge you, as the player would make in that scenario, and try and look top mid for rockets at the start. With the Hydra, it's you know, pick up the Hydra and try and look for people to kill rushing top mid, as the player would make. And if I spawn a flag side, I'm just going to assume that someone might be there. And if there's no one there, then I got the single spawn. I can try and make a play to get to top mid or whatever, try and clear up some kills or something like that. You know, if I'm on the flag side with another player, I'm going to try and face off against him in a 1v1, then look for other people to kill. So those are the plays you have to make at the start of stasis free-for-all. As I said, Overshield is probably my favourite spawn on this map. But you can win a game from any of the spawns really, but it definitely helps to get the Overshield spawn as a better spawn on the map, but particularly with a game like like a map like Empire, because if you get a spawn near the shotty, well, you're kind of set at that point to win the game, or you at least should be, so there definitely is a bit of luck involved in free-for-all, but with a good understanding of the initial spawns and a good understanding of the map, from what my gameplay is going to teach you, and my gameplay is going to show you that someone who hated free-for-all, that was myself, can become a champion player. So with these tips I'm going to give you in this gameplay, and I'm going to give you so much more tips in my next video. I just had to sort of introduce the series today, so I haven't talked about too much strategy and my in-game decision making, because I have to sort of introduce the series first before I can press forward with all this great content. Just talk about the decisions I made in the match, but it's definitely important to consider all those intricate little things in free-for-all, and what we'll talk about more as I go through this series is how to build really good strategies in sort of going towards first place. So just really basic things like the fact don't die to the person in second place who's behind you in terms of kills. Try and die to a player if you're going to have to die. Try and die to a player that's in last place. Just things like that. Also, when you go for a power weapon in free-for-all, try to go at a time in the kill feed where you can see, a lot of players are dead, because at that point you'll probably only have to face up against, one other player on the map at that time to say pick up rockets and things like that. So definitely all those kind of things. Being aware in free-for-all is really important. Another thing in free-for-all you can't really do when you play FFA is really hide a lot or camp, and you need to find ways to keep a setup on your sort of area of the map, but being in the mix of the action as well, because you don't want to fall behind with the rest of the pack in terms of kills. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed my first installment of the Champion Free-for-All August season gameplays. I really enjoyed commentating this one, and I can't wait to get stuck in with the rest of the other episodes, because they're all going to be absolutely amazing. I just can't wait to get in with the rest of the season. This was Serenity's, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.